Today on Cinema Buckets, we're rolling the dices on this episode. Yeah, that's a dice pun. Get used to it. We've got Tim in the house, actor, director, musician, sci-fi legend. You know him from Star Trek, Voyager, but trust me, that's just scratching the surface. The man has done it all, and he's bringing his veteran energy to the table. And alongside, we have Curtis, a filmmaker on the rise with comedic timing, storytelling, and seriously, the funniest creative edge. Now, here's when it gets good. These guys teamed up to do a 12-sided die, a comedy series that dives headfirst into chaos, creativity, and straight up of the tabletop gaming culture, if you don't know what that is. Think big personalities, unpredictable moments, and the kind of humor that hits when you rolled a d20 or not. So let's introduce our guests for today, Curtis Fortier and Tim Russ. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you guys for coming on. It's kind of a big thing, man. I mean, like I said, I seen season one. I had Curtis on. We've talked before, and it's just like he's getting the ball rolling. And I think this is gonna just take off. And what I've saw in the trailers and stuff, I'm excited. So you guys are doing awesome. So
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
now let's talk a little bit about the thought process between season one and season two. I know Tim coming into season two, right? And
Right.
the actors already kind of knew each other. They're friends of Curtis, and they kind of knew their position, what their characters, they like I said, they did already in season one. Was it kind of easy for you to kind of ease in and kind of for as a director to come in and everyone kind of already know their role and you just kind of have to obviously there's more to it but for your line of work.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, since it was season two,
Hmm.
it makes a good point because all the actors do know their characters already. So there's not really a lot that I have to focus on in that regard. Everybody knows what they're doing.
Yep.
So for me, the main thing, because when I came in, I didn't know anything about role-playing games. I mean, literally nothing. So I had to sort of learn on the job, as it were,
Yep.
how it works and what's going on. And then just my main goal, obviously, is to get as much coverage as I can in the camera, and to cover the scenes for the day that we have to deal with. And since the show is more focused on really overall is more focused on the people and the personalities and their interaction with each other, the characters. It's more focused on that and whatever their objectives and goals are than it is really, focusing on how the game is played. We have, several sequences over the course of the series where they are playing the game and they're going back and forth. But it's not the game is those game playing scenes are always leading to something else, some element of the story,
Hmm.
that the conflict or the objective of the story. So they're just the platform for launching into those types of things. So for me, just mechanically, it was about making sure that we get everything we're supposed to get for the day that we're shooting, all the pages, all the scenes, all the coverage.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of stuff is around the table. There's a lot of it's very busy, very fast paced, the
Yep.
game playing stuff. So just to get that in the camera and make sure we have everything that Curtis needs to cut together that show, you know. And again, everybody was the actors they've already played these characters for a whole season, so they know what they're doing. It was really very easy
Hmm.
in that regard to put it together.
Absolutely. It's all about swords and swordsmen, right? There you go. Orcs, baby.
Orcs.
That's it.
That that whole Orcs thing. I didn't write that. That
No.
came up. We were shooting the first season, and
Uh-huh.
I think somebody behind the camera was just kind of. She just said, "Hey, what if you guys just said Orcs or something, some sort of crescendo at the end?"
Hmm.
Yeah,
And that's just what we did. And then I mean, I didn't write that. We just kind of did it in the moment, and that's what carried through.
That's
So.
awesome. That's awesome.
wow, yeah, yeah. That's basically how that worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously things like that happen in film, right? Where you might not have that in, and then all of a sudden something happens, someone gets an idea, and you just kind of roll with it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I
Um,
want to the questions I have are kind of it's kind of like a two-part question, okay? Because the question can go to Tim, it can go to Curtis, and vice versa. And the first one I wanted to know was how did you guys first connect, and what made you want to work together? And you guys either or.
Scotty Baker was kind of the catalyst for that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. He was our DP and our cameraman. And he contacted me and mentioned to me about Curtis is wanting to shoot this web series,
Okay.
and he basically referred me to Curtis to direct it. And I will say right up front, after working on two previous projects with two different producers, it was so much easier working with Curtis on this because he knows what he wants. It's already laid out. It's organized. That's the key word, and it's not all over the map. He's not calling me every minute of the day and the hour, asking, want to do this or changing that or doing this the other thing. It was just so easy and so smooth in terms of the process. Everything was ready to go when we showed up. Everything was there, and it just wasn't and it was well done. Part of the deal with working on projects that come to me from a directing standpoint. I look at the scripts, and sometimes I've had to say that the projects are not shootable. Whatever they have on the paper is not shootable. It doesn't make sense, or it's not written very well. It's not formatted correctly. I mean, whatever. It's just a lot of times that you get that kind of thing, and it's just so horrid and so bad that you don't want to be associated with it. And I cannot say that about this project. This project walked and talked on its own, man. I just came along for the ride for the most part. It's
Nice.
that well done.
Well, that's awesome. And again, kudos to Curtis to being on point, man, on point.
Yeah, I mean, we worked. Tim,
What's up?
Tim and I worked for a day before that on fit the what do you call it? Was like a sizzle reel for Scotty Baker, our cinematographer. He wrote and directed, co-wrote and directed a movie called Fifth Passenger that
Okay.
Tim is amazing in. And I spent a day shooting kind of the sizzle reel, and that's where I met Tim.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool.
and I'm in 3 seconds of the movie. 3 seconds.
Hey,
So Scotty put me in for 3 seconds. So
hey.
good enough. That's all I needed.
Hey, 3 seconds. Sometimes that's all you need, right?
That's it, man. That's it.
Now, what does each of you bring to a project that the other doesn't?
Oh, geez.
Well, well,
Um,
yeah. I mean, in terms of the definition of roles,
Okay.
I do not produce.
Okay.
I have nothing to do with producing, nor do I want anything to do with producing. And
Is that just a
that is
personal
a
thing?
personal thing.
Okay,
Yes, I
cool.
don't like it. I'm not interested in it.
Gotcha.
So the main thing that I don't have to do, and that carries the ball on.
Okay.
We also had another producer we worked with, Kristen, who's
Kristen
very,
Wall.
very good. Kristen Wall is very good. Is produce, because
Got
you have to wear the hat for everything. All the questions go to you, all
uh,
the organization, all the details, all the this, all the everything. You are the top of the chain. And especially for a series project, it's usually the producer, executive producer
mhm.
that ultimately makes the last call and decision. And for myself, that's the one thing I had nothing to do with. I'm only in the directing and getting it in the can era, and that's where it is for me.
Gotcha.
And I'll jump in there. Look, I have no desire to direct.
Okay.
Because people ask me like, "Oh, you're writing it, you're producing it. Are and you're the lead actor. Are you directing it?" I'm like, "Absolutely not." That is, it's really. With anything, it's a skill, but it's a skill that I haven't trained myself in. I mean, it's not. I don't know cameras. I don't know angles. I
Hmm.
and as the lead actor. I want to kind of, as the producer, set everything up and then turn the day over to the director. and go,
Yeah.
okay, now it's time to shoot it. Now I can be the creative actor, and I don't have to worry about what the director does. I just that was a bridge too far for me. As much as Tim does not want to produce, I don't want to direct. So,
Gotcha. I mean, that's a perfect
so
balance. There it is. It's perfect
yeah,
right
or
there.
I'm happy to hand that over. I just wouldn't. That's just too much. That's just
Yeah.
too much. You know.
Yeah, it's two different things. And I'm the same way. If I was acting
Hmm.
on a project, I typically do not want to direct and act in the project. I'd rather, yeah, I'm coming on as a director and that's it. I don't want to be in the thing because I don't like working in front of and behind camera. It's so distracting.
Okay.
And you can't focus on, especially the acting is you can't focus on it. Yeah, I can do it. I can step in and do it. I just would prefer not to because it's distracting. It's taking you away from what you're doing, and you're not focusing on that particular part of it as much, and it makes a big difference.
I
I
understand.
was lucky I didn't have to deal with, I mean, even in working at this, again, of the producers I've worked with before, they could really be um, on top of you or nitpicky or wanting to notes on this, that, and the other thing the whole time, just, writing you about the shots or writing about the performance or writing you about this. And we had a running gag on the set that whenever if Curtis wanted one more shot or one more take or something, we'd all stand around and just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. The executive producer has to have another shot. He had like three times in the entire shoot of the series, I think he asked for one thing, or, it's like three times he asked for something, in the shooting process. And we always would bust his butt for that. And it was just for the hell of it.
And
That's
by
funny.
we, the whole crew, the whole
The
crew.
whole crew would absolutely just go off if he asked for anything whatsoever.
Mhm.
And literally the entire time, I think he only did it three times, three times.
Well, that's awesome. And I've talked to a lot of talent before, and I've asked actors, and I go, what's the difference between a good director compared to a bad one? And said, and they most of them said the amount of shots. A good director knows exactly what kind of shot he wants and doesn't kind of overwork the scene or just continue like, well, one of them he said was like, why are we having, they said action, cut, perfect. Okay, let's take it again. Why, if it was a perfect shot, why are we doing another shot, the same scene again? So I
Yeah,
could see how that could get a little bit exhausting
yeah,
for the
yeah,
actors and stuff,
yeah.
or
If
just
it's not,
everyone,
yeah, if it's not a technical issue or if it's
Mhm.
not a performance issue, um, my average number of takes, and I've always worked that way, is maybe three. I usually get 2 to 3 good takes, and then I'm done. And I've worked on in front of camera with many directors, a couple of them here and there that, it was take after take after take, and this is beating a dead horse, man. I mean, after a while, you've got it. So I've been on at least 2 or 3 projects, or 2 or 3 different directors that I've worked with as an actor, and it drives you insane because, how many ways can you do it?
Yeah.
If it's a really important scene, it might be a few more takes. If it's a really important moment, an important monologue, an important beat, you might want to get at least 2 or 3, maybe 4 takes of that, just so you have it. But, at the end of the day, if we're just running and gunning and getting the stuff done and it's fairly quick pace and it's not critical emotionally, then
Hmm.
you don't, you're going to wear people out. And plus
Absolutely.
you got to make your day. So
Yeah.
if you spend all that time shooting all that many takes, you're not going to make your day. And now you just cost the producer a whole lot of extra money because they got to go an extra day of shooting or
Yeah.
come back and reshoot or whatever. So
Definitely.
you get it and you go and that's it. You know.
Nice, nice. Now, Tim, with directing, I mean, we've talked already. You were in Star Trek, you were in other projects, other movies. Um, what did you take from the actor side, looking at another director, maybe some positives compared to some negatives, and when eventually you became a director, you're like, okay, I remember this. I don't want to do that during set as a director compared to other moments.
It would have been mostly, just doing up to 20 takes on one shot.
Good Lord.
In one case, I think one of the highest was 28 takes. Wasn't our show, but it was some of show that was adjacent to ours. But we
Okay.
had one where the director had, that same director was 16, 15, 16 takes.
Oof.
And you're doing multiple scenes and camera angles all day, so that can add up after a
Mm.
while, and it
Okay.
slows the day down to just drag pace. Um, so that's the main thing. And, communicating with the actors, usually that was pretty straightforward. The actors are very good coming in. They're cast properly. They know
Hmm.
their lines. They know their dialogue. They know what they're doing. And the notes are just minuscule. It's funny, faster, bigger, stronger, whatever. It's very, either pace it up or take a beat, here or there or whatever. Take your time or make it more internal as opposed to external. Little
Hmm.
things like that. And working as an actor, you can first, having worked as an actor, you can pick up and be able to communicate with actors a lot easier.
Okay.
You're in the director's chair because you've been there, you've
Yeah.
done it. So kind of know the language to use to communicate what you need from them. And
Okay.
that's an advantage of having worked in front of camera first,
Hmm.
and having worked with other directors as well. It makes it easier for you to communicate and not do what other directors have done, which is not great,
Hmm.
and to be able to get to through the notes and things on what they have done. And Curtis knows I didn't. I mean, how many notes did I have for that whole thing? Like what, three?
Hardly any.
Hardly any. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, I think you gave me one note once, but you were like, okay, we have that. Let's just make this part bigger just so we got something different. I mean, I
Hmm.
Oh
think it was,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was when I had the not to spoil it, but there's a point where my character has a panic attack, and I think
Hmm.
you're like, let's kick that up and just see how that plays. You
Yeah.
know?
Let's take it another notch above and see, because ultimately you want to have something to work with in the editing room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it may, with the flow of the scene, you may think it's one way, and then you get the flow of the scene, put it together, and realize, oh no, it doesn't work. The more subtle take works, or the opposite. The bigger take works because
Hmm.
of the way the scene is flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't tell that until you start cutting it
Still
together.
shooting, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Cool.
you can't
Gotcha. Gotcha.
tell. Yeah.
What's one moment from working together that really defined your partnership, if you guys have any?
God, let me see.
Huh. I'd have to say when I wanted another take and everybody gave me crap.
Yeah.
I mean,
There you go. God, Curtis, you're not supposed to
and
do
there
that,
was no,
man.
and I remember another fun moment where Will Dixon, who's an incredible actor, who's
Yes,
in the side
very good.
quests, who I mean he's on he's in commercials. I'm sure you guys all would have seen him.
Mhm.
Um, he was our set designer. Or he worked. He reset the set. He really knows his way around a set. There was one point he was trying to set something up, and he's like, I have to talk to Tim. So I'm like, I'll go get him. So like walked over to get Tim at the craft services. He's making some coffee, and I'm like, the art department would like to see you. And it's like, oh, the art department. And it was then he walked over and they met something, or they meshed it together, and it was because we were in the comic book store, so it was really tricky to
Mhm.
shoot
Yeah,
in the comic book
yeah,
store. But it
Yeah.
was just like we just had that kind of funny nonchalance to us. So and Tim walked over, and then it was all set up within minutes, and we're ready to shoot. So
well, yeah, those guys are all, again, there's no, everybody knows what they're doing, and boy, let me tell you, that's such a positive thing when everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You're always in trouble if nobody knows what they're doing. And I cannot say that about this particular production.
Hmm.
Everybody knows what they're doing. I show up in the day, everything is there that's supposed to be there. Everything in this in place where it's supposed to be. The actors know their stuff. I've got Scotty, on the camera. It is effortless getting this material done because everybody knows what they're doing. But I walk into the comic book shop and there's 1,000 comic books everywhere, and we can't shoot this and we can't show that and whatever. And yet we have to make it look like, it's a comic book shot.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
we managed to, and Will manages to put that together. Whatever props that were needed for the scene were there.
Hmm.
Whatever set dressing was necessary was there. all the time. It's just simply effortless. And I can only contrast that with some of the other stuff that I've had to deal with which was an absolute nightmare of, phone calls and emails all night long and trying to get this, that, and the other thing, or trying to explain to the producer
Hmm.
what their job is
Oh
as a
God. Oh
producer.
yeah.
And that's not my job.
Yeah.
I'm shooting it, but you
Hmm.
have like A, B, and C to do. You got to get on the A, B, and C so that we can actually have something to roll on when the day comes. And I
Absolutely.
don't have to deal with that on this project. So it's just 9 times out of 10, man. It's like herding cats. It's trying to organize a lot of nuts and bolts that have to come together to make this machine work.
Mm. Okay, I could see that. That could that could be messy. Um
Oh, it couldn't be messy.
Oh yeah.
now, Tim, what do you bring? What's your vision as a director? What is something that's kind of maybe your style in directing? Is it camera angles? Is it lighting? What is it that you bring as a director?
The main thing,
Hmm.
the main objective, if you give me a script, I have to
Okay.
take that text and I've got to put it on its feet.
Okay.
I've got to turn it into a visual medium. And that transformation is really what it comes down to, is how are we going to transform this paragraph of action into a visual art form? How are we going to make this thing walk and talk off the page? Um, do we need to change the page? Do
Hmm.
we need to change the paragraph? Or is there something we can do visually that's different than the way it's written because it might have more of an impact?
Gotcha.
There's both
Gotcha.
these things. And half the time, you're working with the DP, in this case, Scotty. And I may have an idea for a whole scene, that morning or a whole shot. And the DP might say, hey, let me audition this for you. And they'll show me, a whole different thing, a whole different setup, a whole different shot.
Mm.
And I'm looking at it going, damn, that's really cool. Let's run with that instead. So you work very closely with the cinematographer, who is also concerned with composition, how the shots flow, how they look, how they're lit, and oftentimes you'll have an idea for what you want to do,
Hmm.
and boy, the DP will say, "Here, look at this, look at what I set up here. Check this out. What do you think?" And I'll look at it and go, "Damn, that's really nice."
Hmm.
And let's run with that because that works as well, and it's really cool. And I didn't think about it that way. And so you're working like this. You guys are simpatico. You guys are like, back and forth. And sometimes it can get adversarial, or it can be
Yeah.
confrontational or tense because you have two different visions of what the thing should be. But most of the time I've been very lucky, and ultimately I've just got to get this text, this moment, this story um, filmed in the camera and enough pieces to be able to put together a scene so that the damn thing makes sense.
Yeah.
That I got enough footage to bits and pieces and the main scenes to make this thing flow as a scene editorially. Because it means nothing until you get into the editing bay and try to put it together.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah, and you and Scotty have worked on a lot of stuff, so
Tons.
that just
Yeah.
helped it go just so smooth. You guys really, you know,
100%. Yeah.
So you guys already
100%.
had you had that relationship, you had that balance, almost just like how Curtis and the actors already had that comfortable
Yeah.
balance with each other. You had that, and that's probably everything runs smooth. And I'm assuming it runs smoothly too. Also having the script and like you said that Curtis had it written and it was kind of perfect, and you didn't really have to mess with it. I can imagine like a script being kind of all over the place, and then
Oh,
trying to go from
well,
there, right?
no, you cannot imagine.
Oh, it's like, yeah, maybe I can't,
Can't
but
imagine the stuff that I've had to look at, man, and somebody wanted to roll on. I mean, it's to show up and again, when Curtis's project to have the
hmm.
dialogue is tight. I don't have to, there's like a whole paragraph doesn't work or this is that, this doesn't make any sense or that doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
Everything makes sense and
Yeah.
everything works. And then you get there and the actors are like, they're like fireworks, man. They're just popping the stuff off like you're watching a play,
Hmm.
really. And some of the sequences are quite long, you know. They go on for a few minutes, just on a lot of dialogue, like a lot of bits and pieces. They all had this stuff together.
There you
I
go.
mean, I was really impressed with how tight everything was. Tortoise knows we got out of there. Some of those shoot days were like, what, 6 hours maybe?
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
nice, nice.
Yep.
Yeah,
How
Yeah,
long?
and
How long did it take you guys to shoot the whole entire?
it was 11 shoot days.
11 shoot days. Yeah.
11 shoot days. Yeah. Because there was there's yeah, because we shot some of the side quests were short, so we could shoot
Hmm.
those on some of the days. There was a couple of wonky days. Episode 7, which is the longest, that took us a day and a half. I budgeted 2 days for that.
Yeah.
That's where Andy shows up
Gotcha.
Yeah.
this time.
Okay.
And then episodes 3 and 4, which was it was a little crazy because one of the days we did a company move. We went from Kate Torrey's house to the comic bug.
Okay.
So it's really weird. We shot the beginning of 3 and the end of 4 on one weekend, and then the end of 3 and the beginning of 4 on another weekend. So it was kind of those were the only two episodes that weren't filmed like on the day.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. And to go back to something that Tim mentioned about him and Scotty and the DP having an idea and stuff. I mean, as the writer, when I was coming up with the stuff, I showed up to set numerous times, and those two had put something together, and I'm like, that is much better than what I wrote. This is great. Because like the second day of shooting, you guys had a smog machine, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
smog, like what? Where's this gonna happen? And it was, and not again, not to spoil it, but one of the characters is introduced, and there's smog, and it's kind of a otherworldly thing. I'm like, that's gorgeous. And then we have one character doing a rap. Ryan Seaton does a rap, and you guys were like, we're gonna film it in like a '90s this, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds cool. And because as far as I was concerned, she was just rapping at the table. But no, you guys did it a whole kind of a sequence.
Oh,
That's great. And then we had a
Oh.
couple of walk-in talks where like you guys put stuff in front that really made it dynamic. And I'm just like, this is way better than I had it in my head. Yeah. But again, and then one day, with Will, this was the craziest thing. We're trying to find him an accessory, and I walked out and I came back in, and one of the PAs had a broadsword in his car. We just hired him that day, and Will's dressed up in some weird medieval thing. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but
Uh-huh.
we're like, God, if he just had something, and then one of the PAs like, I got a sword in my car. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's yeah, I got a sword in my hatchback. Let me go grab it. And then I walk back in, and he's knighting somebody. It's like, how? This is just crazy. And it just and will yeah, it just yeah. So stuff
yeah.
like that happens. And
Cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
but yeah, when I showed up and there was a smoke machine, I'm like, this is. I mean, Kitty, the actress, was like, what? This is crazy. So yeah.
Now, as a writer, how much leeway do you have, or how much input do you have once it gets to the director? Like, is there something where Tim will go to you and ask you for maybe like what you were going with? Like, how much does a writer have? I'm assuming in different projects, it's a lot different, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was the writer, executive producer, so I
Mhm.
kind of had a say.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
But I mean, as far as it's different. And Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a writer in television is different from a writer in a movie. Like a writer
Correct.
in TV they're kind of the producers, whereas a writer in a movie, you kind of hand over the script and then
Yep.
That's it.
kind of hope.
And they don't want you on the set. I mean, you're like,
Oh,
they don't even want you on the set. They don't let the writers. When they acquire though, they pay the writer, they get the rights, they're done, and that's the end of the writer. And then usually
oh
what
wow.
happens is the director might take over some of the writing duties
Okay,
on a feature film.
okay.
Or they might hire another writer just to just punch it up. But typically, the director or the actors might come in and make the changes after that's already done. On a television project or series like
Mhm.
this, the executive producer is in charge. The executive producer has the final word. The executive producer has the final cut in the editing. and they are the ones you have to go to. They have to sign off on all of that stuff.
Oh
That
wow.
is how that works for television for any kind of series project. As
Okay.
opposed to feature films, usually the director has a little more say so about how the whole thing comes together. Almost all the time, the director's got a great deal of power on a feature film. It can happen if you have an exec producer on a film and they're the ones writing the check. They can certainly
Mhm.
get in your hair and cause you all kinds of grief. But on a television project or a web series, things like that, it's Curtis who is not only the writer but also the exec producer.
Cool. Okay, I
And
understand
so
that.
yeah, I would go to him and say, Curtis, can we shorten this up, or can we rephrase it, or
Mhm.
whatever it might be.
Can you
To
be
see,
funnier? I got that a lot.
yeah,
Funnier.
could it
Can
be
you be funnier,
funnier?
Curtis?
Could it be better than what it is?
Oh,
Better.
Better.
That's that's funny. Now, how do you balance creative ambition with budget realities?
oh gosh. I even heard Tim talk once. Like, let's say you're shooting something in the future. Well, what does the chair look like? What does the door look like? It's different. You have to redesign everything.
Yeah.
So, so I'm a huge fantasy, sci-fi, superhero
Mhm.
nerd. So I wanted to have it in that kind of genre. But, if you write it so you're shooting at people's houses and comic book stores that are very generous to, help you out shooting it there,
Cool.
then that makes it easier. I tried to keep I tried to put all the money, quote unquote, if you will, into the writing, into the dialogue. I wanted everything to be funny and move fast and have people entertained that way. That way, when there is a sight gag or where there is something visual that we have to spend money on, it we're sitting, or we're if you just keep it in the and I because it's writing and then it's acting,
Mhm.
and that I think is interesting and fun to watch. Just watching talented artists do what they do on screen. So
Yeah. I agree on that one, on especially if the script is tight, if the script is solid with the acting and stuff, you don't have to have any crazy. I mean, Kevin Smith is a perfect example of having a location in one spot and the dialogue being so good that you're just immersed into that scene because of the dialogue.
yeah, and my background is stand up, so it's like I'm kind of in my head. In the back, it's like economy of words.
Hmm.
Let's what is necessary, what isn't. Let's get to the joke. Let's get to the punchline, and let's get to the next piece of business. So.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, Did you guys at all, by any chance, scrap any radical change or project, or maybe a couple of scenes mid-production, and what happened, if anything?
No, I don't think
No.
I think we shot everything that we had planned. There was no catastrophe in any of the shooting. There was no issue. Everybody's made it there. The locations worked out fine.
Mhm.
Um, and Curtis is absolutely right about the writing. Everything starts with the writing. That's the
Mhm.
foundation. You can't build a building without the foundation, and that's the foundation.
Mhm.
And you can change anything in the script. If you're writing the project, you can change anything on the paper. The audience doesn't know what version one, two, and three look like. They only know the one
Very
that's we're
true.
shooting. So you can do whatever you want to make your life easier.
Mhm.
It's if it saves you $3,000 to change one sentence, then you change the sentence. And if the one thing that writers in general have to learn how to do is they have to learn how to kill puppies. That's essentially what it is. You have to be willing to give up something you might be really, really fond of or close to, but it's not practical for the production. You don't have time to shoot it. You don't have the money to find that location. You don't have this, that, and the other thing. And or it may not be entirely relevant to the story. It just may be holding things up.
You
And
know,
and
that
and
actually happened when I was writing it. I realized that I had written Eric's house because it was all at Chris's house, and then I
Mhm.
realized episode, I think it was six, happened at Eric's house, and I'm like, and there was the only episode where there was a whole nother location, and I'm like, what? I'm like, did I just add a whole nother location? That's crazy. So I literally went in and instead of interior Eric's house,
Mhm.
interior Chris's house, and we'll justify it somehow.
Mhm.
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
saved us whole okay. And it was a, yeah, I remember having that realization, like, wait a minute, I have five locations and not four. What? And then I just saw the dollar signs. I'm like, nope, nope,
yep,
we're gonna make it work. That it all takes place at Chris's house.
yep, yep. The
Now,
audience is,
for
yeah.
the most part, when you're writing something or you're directing something, are you thinking about, hey, like you just said, the dollar signs? Are you thinking about like, well, this is might cost us a little bit
Oh
more?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh
everything.
yes.
That's okay. Okay.
Oh yes. Yeah,
Okay.
because one thing I know, and I kind of accepted this, is
Mhm.
Cynthia, the character Cynthia, she's an artist, and I know I wanted to have a lot of art in the piece. So I
Okay.
knew that I was going to have to hire an artist, and I hired Tess Fowler, who does the IDW comic, D&D comic, and she's an amazing artist. And I
Mhm.
knew that that's an expense I would have to pay her to do that, and I did that way in advance. I'm like, okay, if I know I'm going to do this,
Okay.
I'll talk to her now. That way I can pay it now. That way I have. That way I've kind of
Okay.
prepaid it. That it's not, so much, it's not, such a big ticket item later on.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, but I knew that going in, and as I'm writing the script, I'm like, this is important to me.
Mhm.
But then other things, I let go. There was yeah, there was I wrote Eric's got a joke where he's wearing a Matrix kind of a jacket like Keanu Reeves wears
Uh-huh.
in the Matrix, and that it's a good bit, but as we're going forward, I'm like, that's we're spending a lot of time trying to find this darn jacket. That's
The jack is kind of hard to find.
uh, that's probably not a good move. We actually found it. Kristen found somebody's jacket that let us borrow it for the day,
Uh-huh.
and then Deborah found Darren's cloak. That
Okay.
was cool. So that I kind of lucked out at, but yeah, that jacket. I'm like, we're spending a lot of time trying to find this jacket
For
for
a
one
gag,
gag.
for a gag.
That's interesting that comes about because I don't think a lot of people put too much I think thought like as an audience member of hey this gag you have to look for the Matrix jacket
Oh
and
yeah.
I mean, especially in I mean back in the early 2000s when that movie was popular and everyone was going in the Matrix watching it with the leather they were everywhere but it's kind of hard now in 2026 to find some.
Yeah, I'm not writing a Michael Jackson Thriller jacket
Yeah,
in
there
one
you
Yeah,
piece.
we're
That's
not, yeah.
not.
That's not going to be, yeah, that's not going to be in there. Yeah. No,
Tim's like, nope, sorry,
no,
Curtis,
no
not
Michael
not gonna
Jackson. Yeah.
happen.
One thing I knew we had tons of Dungeons and Dragons dice, books,
Okay.
scrap paper, maps. I
Mhm.
knew we had just tons of that. So I'm
Mhm.
like, good. That I don't need to worry about. So, like,
So,
we had
so,
more.
so, Tim, tell me this, because this is something that's I find interesting. Because you said that you weren't very familiar with the whole, the game
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
Um, did you kind of do some research? Did you ask Curtis what the hell this was, or how did that come about?
Nope. I just showed up on the set and once I was there
Hmm.
and they had everything laid out
Okay.
and it was ready to go. And all the dialogue in the gaming, once they started, started running the scene, um, you figured out what's happening very quickly.
Hmm.
And then it just comes down to, because all it's going to come down to most of the way is just coverage. I have to cover what it is they're doing. So all I got to do is see them doing what they do
And then boom.
and then figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to cover it. And there's a lot of angles where they're sitting around a table. And every time anybody's sitting around a table with 4 or 5 people, it's a lot of coverage. You've got to get coverage so many different ways because everybody's relating to everybody else, and
Hmm.
you've got to cover that equally on both sides. And then of course the gameplay. All I got to do is get inserts of what's happening with the gameplay.
Hmm.
So that editorially, they cut all that stuff together, dialogue, the dialogue back and forth, and it comes together. It could have been, any, Monopoly. I mean, at the end of the day,
Hmm.
it's just,
It's the same
it's a,
concept
it's a
almost.
game. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they're sitting around playing a game.
Gotcha.
And all I need is to get the action of the gameplay and then the reactions of them and, going back and forth and arguing over this and that and or saying they're going to do this and that. And then it's done.
Mm.
And until that moment where the game is the incident that starts off the chain of events from that point is the key moment that has to be covered, and we get that incident, and that's moving on. But it's all just coverage of everything, and it's very quick pace. I know that I wanted for those game sequences to really
Mhm.
roll, and the way the dialogue is a very quick pace. So the editing of this whole thing also is very quick pace. So once we shot everything, Curtis would send me the cuts.
Mhm.
I would give my notes on the cuts, based on kind of how I saw things going, or just saying that, okay, well, this is better if this is quicker, or better if we take longer with this or that. It's better if we use an insert here or there, and so that's the second half of that whole thing. Once you shoot it, like I said,
Mhm.
it's got a bunch of random footage. You don't have anything.
Gotcha.
Now you got to put everything, into a story. And that comes down to cutting something within just frames, like as tight as just frames
Hmm.
before, for the pace of the scene, just getting the pace just right and the mood just right and holding on this beat long enough to make it work and, all that good stuff. That's
Got
the whole second half of this thing once it's done.
Okay, interesting. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Very nice. Um, now, I have kind of like some fun questions, and this is for both of you guys. If you had unlimited budget and zero restraints, what project would the two of you create together?
Oh God. Wow.
Wow. Well, we talked about a parody at one point in time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about a parody. Uh, I don't want to give it away because we may still
No,
do it.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
But
That's
it was an action adventure parody that
okay.
we had talked about. It would be fun to do.
Hmm.
That would it might require some extra money, but we haven't discussed anything outside of that.
Okay.
That would be on a huge scale where you'd have a really good sized budget. I know Curtis likes science fiction, like he said. Those kinds of projects require a budget, almost all the time. But we have not talked about anything that would be straight up, a sci-fi, serious sci-fi, or more like the tongue-in-cheek sci-fi of Guardians, or
Okay.
um, uh, that other one that was on for a while, the series that was on. Um, so
Orville?
the one that, yeah, the comedy series, sci-fi action thing. What the hell was that?
The
That
Orville?
no, yeah, well, the Orville's one. There's another one that was before that. Firefly, Firefly.
Oh,
Oh
Firefly.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Hold
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, where you've got a lot of action and
Mhm.
it kind of was reminiscent of Guardians in terms of the humor. Um, and I think Curtis's humor is similar to that in that it's more subtle, not over the top. It's not overt, it's not over the top, it's not, it's subtle.
It's good.
It's smart
Good job.
types of humor. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, what is something you learned from each other that changed how you work?
No, I don't always say that.
Wow.
We'll
Uh,
let Curtis go.
yeah, no, for me it's
Mhm.
to let everybody do their jobs. I mean, Tim was mentioning about like sometimes an exec producers like
Mhm.
leans in with performances and stuff. I mean, I have no interest in micromanaging people. I hate it when I when it gets done to me. So I mean, I just kind of learned to, I just kind of hand everything. You hired your people, and that's kind of that's kind of your last decision, and then you take care of you, and then hope. And just to be just to be cool on set. I mean, it's like I think a lot of really good, creativity happens when not everybody's stressed out or they're excited to
Mhm.
be there. And Tim really ran that kind of set where it was like everything was cool and smooth and everybody got to do what they do best. So there was no pressure. I mean, there was the pressure to, set everything up and get everybody there, but once it was
Those
there,
going. Yeah.
once the fuse got lit, then it was just, it was nice smooth sailing the rest of the day. So
Yeah,
yeah.
what I learned is ultimately is not to work with any producers who aren't like Curtis. Just to
Ah,
There
anybody
you
shucks,
else
go.
not like him, just keep
shucks.
on walking, don't bother. That's the lesson I've learned. Let me focus on projects and working with people who, know what the hell they're doing,
Yep,
have
absolutely.
it organized, and that's to me that's because I hate wasting so much time, man. I hate wasting time and going back and forth with people who don't know they're in charge, but they do not know what they're doing. I
Yep.
mean, that's a disaster because I know the whole chain of command is all screwed up because the person at the top is not on top of things,
Absolutely.
because I'm just a cog in the wheel.
Mhm.
The director is just coming in to do a specific job. So I don't have a say so over any of the other stuff that's happening. You know, I can have input on typically on the actors, but may not have even input on the actors because the executive producer's already got the actors, or the producer wants this person or that person to be in the role, and they tell me, okay, this once in a while, yes, we'll cast from scratch, and I can have an input as to who might be the best for the role, but a lot of times the producer, exec producer, they're gonna decide that they want A, B, and C, and I've got to work with A, B, and C. So to me, it's like, it's the opposite. I learn that, I don't want to work with other people necessarily who don't have things together.
I mean, and
I don't,
I mean, that sounds about right. I think that could go with any aspect of work, right? You don't want to, why you want to have someone who's going to make your job harder than it is already, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that, man? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And I have to call out, I mean, Kristen Wall, who was the producer on it. I mean, I mean, she set everything up so well. There were days that she had to leave set for whatever reason, and everything still went smoothly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's how good she had everything set up. You
Everything's
know?
there,
Yeah.
she doesn't have to babysit it because it was already there.
Yep.
If you showed up, everything is where it's supposed to be. All the
Mhm.
props, all the set pieces, all the actors, all the clothes,
Yep.
everything is there.
Yep.
And the staff, the people who are doing the job, somebody's got to run the boom, somebody's got to do this, somebody's got to do that. They're there, they're ready to go, they got the gear works, and we're off.
Yep.
Just makes a huge difference. My God.
Well, let's talk about season two. What do people have to look forward to? Let the people know. Tim, let them know. Curtis, let them know. Go ahead, man.
Well, it picks up 3 months after season one has left off, and you can watch season one on a platform called Fawsome. Starts with an Fawsome. If you go to our IMDb page, you can click on it, and it takes you
And
right there.
I'll put it all in the links
Oh,
below so
fantastic! Oh,
they can,
cool, cool.
yeah, so they
Yeah,
can.
and
Excellent.
then and this picks up 3 months afterward. Curtis has a girlfriend, and now he wants to. Let's just say, well, he wants to. Uh,
Let's express how we
yeah, I don't
feel.
want to. I don't want to give it away. I mean, it's well, but but he wants that. They're going to take their relationship. He realizes how he feels about her, and he wants to
Hmm.
tell her that.
Yeah.
And like everything else, he gets in his own way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then she has an issue too, that she needs to overcome, and so now they're kind of not on the same, they're on the same page that they like each other and they love each other, but they're not on the same page as far as being able to tell each other and where they are in life. So it's the antics that come from that. And then Curtis is trying to seek advice from his friends who are probably the worst people he should be seeking advice
Yeah.
from. So yeah, that's that. But they're his friends, so he has to go to them. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how it happens.
And we
Yeah,
have, and we,
and,
yeah.
and it's also set against the backdrop of the creator of Swords and Swordsmen.
Cool.
He
Yep.
comes in to run a game, and he has his own issues. So everybody's got their own issues, and they're all coming to a head. And that person is played by Andy Robinson,
Mhm.
um, who played Garrick on Deep Space Nine, played Liberace. He was in an episode of the A Team, which
Nice.
one of my favorite shows growing up. So and yeah, and he even gets to do Shakespeare. So it's really a treat again, just to watch him be an artist. So yeah.
Definitely. And I'll put, like I said, I'll put the trailer too for season two down in the link below. And we talked a little bit about this earlier before, Curtis, about the world premiere, right? Like you went to different festivals and you showed it. You went to two, right? That's where you
We've
were
been
saying.
to, I think we've been to four.
Okay,
We've
four.
been to, let me think. So there was we've been to Big Bear like nine times already. I don't know, no, twice, twice. And then we were at the Texas Short Film Festival where we won Best Romantic Comedy.
Mhm.
We were at the Grand Rapids Comic Con Film Festival where we won an Audience Choice Award. And then we world premiered at Gen Con in Indianapolis last August. So that's where we world premiered. And then so it's only the whole thing's only been shown, all episodes, all side quests, back to back, I think twice, maybe once. So we're having a big LA premiere on May 17th
Mhm.
here in lovely downtown Hollywood, California. Where yeah, we're gonna the whole cast and crew and a lot of people. This is the first time that worked on it that they're gonna see it for the first time.
Cool.
So we're really excited. We're really excited, and we've invited some casting directors and showrunners to be there to watch, and hopefully podcasters such as yourself are going to be there as well to hopefully generate enthusiasm for the next season, and then for
Absolutely.
and to watch the show, because we're also we just been accepted to the Origins Film Festival, which
Okay.
is in Columbus. That's the end of June in Columbus. That's a sci-fi gaming fantasy film
Gotcha.
festival. So
Cool.
yeah, so we're really excited to be there too. So yep,
Nice.
yep,
Well,
yep.
it seems like it's going in the right direction. Like I said, I have a really good feeling that obviously you're gonna do a season three and continue moving forward. But before I let you guys go, it's been a blast and to talk to you guys and to chat with you guys, and then hopefully in the near future, we'll all meet and see each other in person. That's
Well, again, we'd love to have you here, but I don't. I know you have your kid's birthday party on
Yeah,
the
I mean,
date.
I
So you need to
mean, it's
fly.
in July. I decided to do it in May. They kind of screwed
Yeah.
me over. But before I let you guys go, and I know Tim gets this all the time, and I seen a clip, and it's hilarious. Is you talking about that you had 135 uh movie credits, right? I mean, IMBD, and you say, and there's one thing that they always talk about. They always, again, it's a Spaceball. It's iconic. Is that we ain't find shit. And again, and you kind of used it. I saw that you made a song about it. Again, you're very into music. Again,
Oh
talented.
yeah, if you're in the LA area, come
Yeah, like,
see Tim Russ crew at the Kibitz Room. Absolutely.
Mhm.
and I have to ask, like, is music something that's I wouldn't say more important, but are you more focused on music than directing or acting, or it kind of blends in, or what as of right now in your the moment in your life right now, what do you
It's no, music has been around for with me for 50 years, so it's always been there.
yeah.
I've always been doing it in one way, shape, or form or another. And all these gigs, the directing gigs and everything else, those are all very spread apart. They're not consistent.
Okay.
They're just here and there whenever they pop up. So there's a lot of airtime, dead air between all of those
Mhm.
gigs. And music, I run my own band and I organize and manage it and everything. So and I book it. So
Okay, cool.
that I keep that alive because it's a whole separate thing. Playing and performing live is a standalone in terms of what it is compared to directing or acting. It's film
Oh,
acting, especially. Um, if you're doing live theater, that's great. It's very close to working in a band and playing music live.
okay.
Working as an actor for film and television, that is a whole different beast.
Hmm.
Um, and directing, obviously, again, a whole different beast.
Hmm.
It is an entirely different facet of creativity. There's they don't overlap. Well, actually, sometimes they do.
Hmm.
I worked as an actor on a couple of gigs in the past because I was able to play guitar and sing.
Okay.
So sometimes they will overlap, very rarely. But I like to do that. I just enjoy playing
Hmm.
music with a live band and doing gigs. That's what I enjoy doing.
Got
If it's acting on stage, live theater, love to do that,
it. Hmm.
and also directing whenever I get a chance to do that. All
Hmm.
of those different things are different creative palettes, and they all use different materials to make those things happen. And I'm game to do all of that at any but for one day, next every single day of the week if I could do it.
Hmm.
Because they're all very different and they all feed a certain element of my personality. They feed me, creatively in different
Absolutely.
ways. So I enjoy it.
Now, as it comes down to like, what do you think expresses more? Like, do you think music expresses more feeling or do you think movie wise? I know they have different, um, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I guess like different categories, right? Like,
Yeah,
how some people are like, yeah, music moves people. It does.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it moves people more with music than movies or television. I think, and personally,
yeah.
that's just I don't know if you feel that way or you have another
Yeah,
thought.
yeah. The music is you're performing live. It's a medium there where you're actually performing live for an audience, and you're getting the feedback from the audience immediate. So it's a very different thing. You are literally performing as an artist in a live venue, whereas the directing, you're putting together with a lot of other people a project
Hmm.
that is telling a story,
Hmm.
and once that story is done, then you can put that, like we're going to be doing here, on the screen for people to react to.
Hmm.
And those performances from all of those people come together to make this performance, this visual medium, interesting to watch because it's a story. And whereas the gigs, you're an artist performing a live performance. The energy is different. What
Hmm.
you're doing is very different. Your audience is responding differently than any of the other mediums. It's immediate and it's visceral. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And you're working with other people as an ensemble to make this thing happen. So it's very close to live theater
Cool.
in that respect. Again, it's the same kind of thing.
Mhm.
Lots of energy goes into, lots of passion goes into it. But as far as directing, you can be just as passionate about it. It's just a different medium. It's a different process and a different medium.
Curtis, put them in, put them in. Let them play the band and let do it. At the end of the Q&A, boom, you have
Yeah,
Wow.
because Curtis he's stand-up comic, so he knows
Oh yeah.
what that is like
Mhm.
to perform live in front of an audience compared to performing on camera and producing a project that has to have so many people involved and so much post-production done and all this stuff in order to pass. So you got the same thing. It's got
Yeah.
two different aspects that are very different.
Very
Yep.
cool. Very cool. Again, both talented. Keep doing your music, man. If you love it, keep doing it. And
Absolutely.
and Curtis says you're one hell of a player. Now you got to do something. You got maybe for the premiere, man. Maybe we cook something right there.
Well, like you said, when I write, I'm always conscious of the budget, and I don't know, Tim Rose crew, they're very expensive.
Oh, no. All right.
I don't know.
Tim goes for the
So I don't know
money.
if I can
Sorry.
afford them.
Oh, I
Sorry.
know that for the screening, man. the music can take a break. To me, it's all about, seeing this piece that we have worked on
Yeah,
for a very long time to come together and then now be performing for the audience, because that's
yeah,
what it is. We
It
are
is.
now,
yeah.
we are in screening, we are performing for the audience, um, after it's been done, after the fact.
And a lot of people are looking forward to it. Like everybody, like all my close friends that I've been yapping about this for years. They're
Yeah,
like, finally, we get to see it. So there's a lot of people really looking forward to it. So,
Absolutely,
yeah,
I'm very
absolutely.
excited.
Like I said, it's something you guys should be proud of. It's something that people that are going to be watching this are going to be excited about. Like I said, I'll put all the links down so you guys can watch the
great.
first season and then get ready for the second season. I think it's going to be amazing. I think you guys are awesome, man, and just wishing you guys all the luck and I hope you guys take off, man. And same
Thank
thing
you.
with Tim. We're gonna see Tim's gonna have his own band. He's gonna do it, Tim. Maybe that's what you need to do. Just focus on music, like you said,
Get it
and
done.
do your
Yeah,
thing, man.
it'll be around for as long as I can do it.
Yep, absolutely. There you go.
I'll be doing it. As long as I can carry it off, I'll be doing it.
There you
I
go.
look forward to it all the time.
Well, gentlemen, it was an honor to have you guys on. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate the time you guys taken. Good luck in the
Thank you.
future, and hopefully, I'll see you guys there.
You
Thank you
got
for
it.
having us.
Thank you very much for having us. Take care.
Take care.